guys, what is going on? Final update ahead of the Wyndham Championship. Should be a lot of fun. Going to be a birdie fest. Let's start with the betting card for the week. So, anchoring on a couple guys, taking some shots in the mid-range, taking a couple bombs down the board. So, I'm really anchoring a lot this week on Sanjay, Russell Henley. So you'll see their core fixtures in my DFS lineups. I just don't think it makes any sense to bet guys shorter than 30-1 this week. Certainly guys like Webb and Louis can win, but this feels like the type of event where you're going to get someone either totally crazy or one of these mid-range guys are going to win. There's question marks on guys at the top. Not everyone is checking a lot of the boxes at the top. So I think there's enough viability taking a little bit of a shotgun approach this week. So it's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to have about 4 units in play. In terms of outrights, I don't typically do anything else. So 4 units on outrights for me is maybe the same as other people, spreading it out a little bit between top 10s, top 20s, things like that. I just don't want to be in a spot where I bet a guy to top 10 and they end up winning and then I miss out on all that upside. So kind of an all or nothing kind of guy here. So coming off hot on the answer win, let's have some fun this week. So Sanjay, Russell Henley, top of the board for me. In the mid-range, taking a shot on Gary Woodland. I think we talked about this in my video the other day. Major winner, guy with a lot of win equity in general, rounding into form. Putter might hold him back, but I thought in this field, does he have that low of a chance to win as maybe some of these other guys? I'm not sure that he does. He's won at Pebble. It's not necessarily a comp course, but it's shorter. Can club down off the tee. So keep it dialed in with approach, Mr. Woodland, and we should be in good shape. Then I took 3 guys in the 80s. 2 of these are guys that I've just been riding for a while, so no stopping now. Patton Kizzire at 80. Again, he's number 1 in this field. Opportunities gained, birdie or better. And a lot of that data is from courses that are not on Bermuda greens. Bermuda is his best surface, so I think Kizzire has a ton of upside this week. Doug Gim, again, all of the metrics that you like to see are there outside of the putter. He's basically the same guy as Ches Reavie, some of these other guys, but I don't want to miss out on Doug Gim. HV3 is not maybe the best statistical play, but I do like the fact that he finished second at Harbor Town just earlier this year. He's played well here in the past, so eventually the guy's going to win. Why can't it be this week? So Harold Varner at 80. Ryan Armour is a guy that I'm going to take a shot on just because he's the number 1 guy in my model. And I don't want to miss out on that again. I don't think he's going to win, just to be totally honest. But I think it's very rare that you guys get guys that can check literally every single box. So for me, that's why he's on the card. So lastly, 2 bombs. Doc Redman at 130. He's a North Carolina guy. He is 18th in this field in approach. He played well here last year. A lot of reasons to like Doc Redman. Norlander is a guy that I'm just taking a bomb on. He's way too cheap. I think he's mispriced. 9th in my model. 12th in approach. Checks the box in terms of the key proximity distances. Bermuda's his best surface. He's just mispriced. He shouldn't be 6,600. He shouldn't be 170-1. That's not to say he's locked to make the cut or anything like that, but I think he has winning upside. He's played well on some of the comp courses as well. So this is my card. It's 11 guys for the week. Again, most of that exposure is at the top end between Sanjay, Henley, and Woodland, and then just kind of dart throws here on some other guys that are rating out fairly well for me. So those are the guys on the betting card. So let's talk Draftkings. Let's talk strategy. So jumping over here, we have our ownership breakdown from Fantasy National. And again, I'll highlight a couple areas that I think are probably a little off. So Henley, Webb, these guys are going to be, even Louis, Ryan Armour should scare the hell out of you coming in at 20% owned, but we're going to ride it anyway. These guys are all going to be pretty highly owned. I could see Webb coming in a little higher, but at the same time, if Louis is going to be projected to be 17, Hideki 13, I just feel like this is an event where Webb in the past has been 40% owned, and now it's getting spread out a little bit, and for good reason, right? He's not necessarily the best form, but I do like the fact that in the final round at the WGC, he gained 3 strokes on approach. So maybe, just maybe, coming home here, he can keep that form going. And again, this field outside of these top guys is not very good. So I think that's totally viable to ride Webb this week. And then obviously I'm going to have some Louis, Ryan Armour, Seamus Power. I'm not going to build lineups with all of these guys, but I think, trying to be smart about how you set things up this week is important. The one guy I will highlight, Hank Leviota, I think his ownership is going to come in a little bit higher than this. It's currently projected for 15%. The price feels comfortable. I have decided to fully fade our guy, our hero, that we've been riding for a couple weeks, Hank Leviota. I'd rather be too early than too late jumping off the train. And the thing that gives me a lot of pause, so certainly the ball striking is there. He's obviously had a little bit of a layoff, but even still, he can keep the ball striking going. He's actually gained here in the past on approach, off the tee, etc. But he's lost big in his 2 events with the putter. I think the last trip, he lost almost 5-6 strokes. He's not a good Bermuda putter. So I get the love for this guy, but you don't need him at this price in terms of the optimal lineup to take down a tournament. You need him to finish top 10. Maybe top 20 you can get away with. But at this ownership, this just feels like the sharp fade to me, right? And again, it might come back and burn me. He'll gain 8 strokes putting and win this thing. So be it. I'm okay with that. I just feel like this is not good chalk this week. I know a lot of people are on him. I wish you all the best of luck. I will not be joining you in that adventure. Jason Kokrak I think is fine. I just don't like the price, to be honest. I'd rather play Louis and Webb. And I'd rather play Sanjay and Henley under him. So for me, this is how I'm kind of shaking out there. I'm not going to have any Hideki either. But I think there's a ton of leverage plays in the 7K range. So we can jump over to my lineup build for the week. Again, max entering the small dollar tournament, leaving about $1,000 on the table in any given lineup. Not in every lineup, right? Somewhere between $100 and $1,000. I'm also taking an approach this week where I'm not necessarily quote unquote shotgunning it. It's okay for me to have 5 of the same golfers in a lineup with 1 pivot. And that's because I'm really keeping a tight core at the top. So what I decided to do is make sure that every lineup had at least one of my 4 guys that I'm using 9K above, and then get a good mix of the leverage core that I've been talking about. So I'll show you guys that in a second, but keeping it really simple this week. So basically what I'm doing in terms of exposure, I'm just going really overweight on these 4 guys at the top. And if one of them misses the cut, so be it. I'll have some, hopefully, bets in the mix. That's fine. But for me, I'm just going to build as many combinations as I can around these guys. I also have a lot of Gary Woodland, a little bit more than the field and Seamus Power. But then really where I'm getting creative is everybody in the 7K range that's not going to be chalky. The other guy that I think is going to be popular is Johnny Vegas. He always seems to come in a little bit higher owned. I'm just not sure. I know he rates out well statistically, but he's also not a great putter. I'm going to take the win on nailing him second place at the 3M Open and run. I just don't feel like you have to ride all of these guys that played well just the prior event. And for me, I just like all of these other 7K guys if they're going to be half the ownership. And for me, they're all exactly the same. Some of them maybe can putt, some of them can't, but I have no idea which ones are going to play well. So my approach this week is to build around my core at the top and then just as many combinations as I can, guys in the 7Ks. I think the one unique aspect to this is that I have a lot of lineups starting kind of at the top. So either Louis Webb, Webb Sanjay, even some Sanjay Henley lineups. But those lineups will leave somewhere between $500 and $1,000 on the table. And the reason that I like doing that, another way of thinking about this, you would probably play Sanjay if he was 10-2, right? In this field, if you're going to play him, you would probably play Russell Henley if he was 98, right? It's a way to get different, right? So if people are going to use Zalatoris, if they're going to use Kokrak, and then some of these 7K players, well, you just left a little bit on the table and you're different with your core top guy, right? And if you think that Sanjay or Henley or any of these guys, as an example, can beat Kokrak in a head-to-head, you kind of just lapped all of those people, right? So that's the way that I'm trying to think about this, rationalize it this week. But I also just feel like the optimal is certainly going to leave less than $50,000 on the table this week, or use less than $50,000 on the salary this week. Just lean into it. A lot of the top guys in my model are from the 7K range. Let's get 3-4 of those guys in a lineup and then plug in 2 of the top guys, right? So that's essentially what I'm doing this week. Hopefully it results in a nice win on DraftKings. But yeah, I'm basically just casting a wide net, keeping it pretty consistent. I have about 28 lineups of everyone that I like in the 7K range. And then in the 6K range, about 24 lineups with each of those guys. So certainly some of these guys are going to miss the cut, right? But hopefully, if the top 4 guys that I'm using can all make the cut somehow, we should get a high percentage of 6-6. And that's kind of all you can ask for. And hopefully the winner comes out of, hopefully the winner comes out of either the 7K range or one of the guys at the top that I bet on. So that's how I'm setting it up for the week. Again, I think it's a little bit of an aggressive week for me in terms of the play here. Usually I don't set it up this way, but I just feel like I'm going to be really right or really wrong this week. And coming off the win last week, I'm okay being totally wrong if I feel like there's a viable path for me to have a big one this week. So that's how I'm approaching it. So if you tailed any of this, best of luck. We'll do a live update on Saturday mornings, Friday night, something like that. And hopefully you guys have a nice sweat here too. If you're tailing any of this, maybe we can catch another one this week. So as always, if you like the content, if you like the reviews, the data, the stats, all of it, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. Comments in the shout outs in the comments are always much appreciated. And we will talk soon. Best of luck, guys. Enjoy the first couple rounds of the Wyndham Championship. Thanks.